Bitcoin is in a bear market. It has been confirmed. In this video, I'm going to share my screen, go through the charts and talk about what that actually means. Is the price going to go much lower? Are we going to be in a bear market for another couple of years again? I'm Harvinder. I've been making these video updates since 2022 and I've been Bitcoin since 2015. So smash that like button on the way in, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Right, so Bitcoin is in a bear market now. And last month I made a video, well, in December actually, and I went through this chart over here, which tracks all the different cycles. And the only thing that I wasn't sure of is whether or not we were in a bear market or a bull market still. And I said, look, if this level here gets cleared, then I'm going to have to call it and say, look, we have been in a bear market all this time since October. And, what does that mean? Is it the end of the world? Is Bitcoin getting to zero? No, it's not. And, we've got to be realistic here as well. And when it comes to using trading analysis, you're really using stats, and it's educated guessing. Like, no one knows for sure what's going to happen. But we can look at patterns, and that's what I do when I look at this kind of stuff. And I know we haven't had the craziest bull market, but if we look from the halving, from where it's gone up to where it's bottomed out to, there's a big difference there. Like, there's a big, lot of green there, and it hasn't come back past the green. And so and even over here in this run, 2017, same again in 2021, 2022. And so we can probably confidently say that Bitcoin is very unlikely to hit these levels here, 50K, 60K. I doubt it. I really do think we have bottomed out. I hope. Again, no one knows. But this is a really good area for a bounce. And if you watch my videos from probably November time, I was talking about this exact scenario. I said, look, what's happened is Bitcoin has broken through this trend line, it's retested it, and it's going to come down. But, where I got a little bit caught out, it did break. I was expecting that move, but that didn't. It did happen, but it just took a bit longer, and then it came down. And so, yeah, I was right, but I got a little bit caught out over here where I got a bit excited when it broke this resistance trend line, and I was thinking, okay, maybe this time it will be different. But no, this time it's not different. I mean, this is pretty much exactly the same play as, what happened over here. But, I don't think we're going to crash that much further from here. Again, no one knows. No one knows. But I want to show you a model that one of my friends put together. Let me load up a separate chart. I don't know if this has got too much noise on it. I want to get a clean chart with nothing on it. All right, let's delete everything here. All right, so a good friend of mine, he actually nailed the top back in April 2021. And so he's got this model, and I'm not going to try and explain it because it's using statistical analysis, regression analysis in particular. And he's got these bars drawn up here, and he has got to update it to change this a little bit. But what this pretty much maps out using statistics, so it's a different kind of trading analysis. He's got this bottom green band here, and that normally is the low. Like, whenever Bitcoin hits this area or comes close to this area, that is the low. And see this blue line here? That's the kind of medium. And the red line at the top here, that is the top. So when we get close to the top, that's when you sell. And models work until they don't work. And it really is as simple as that. This model has worked really, really well, especially in the last cycle. And what this basically means is, if you're below the blue line, you should be buying. If you're above the blue line, then that's, we're probably in some kind of bull run. But as we get closer and closer to the red line, that's when you should probably be selling. And you can see this model, it worked really well in the last run. But over here, it really hasn't worked as well. I mean, even he was talking about, there's definitely these kind of areas, these target areas that Bitcoin could potentially go to. And so the way you got to look at this is this model still valid? I still like it, and if Bitcoin comes close to this line, then that's definitely a good buying signal. I would say, look, that's a good buying signal and a good bottoming signal. And so it might not come all the way to this level here. That's a pretty decent range there. And if you look at it from a percentage point of view, from here to there, there's a good 30% where it could still crash. But if we look at what happened last time, it didn't quite get to that band. It was almost there. It was what, 10% off, I think it was. Let me turn off the magnet. So yeah, we were 10% away. And so we might be 20% away this time. But also, it'll probably be interesting to look at how far away from the top were we. So let's look at that. We were 56% away from the top. So, is this model still valid? It's probably got some weight to it. And again, models work until they stop working. And eventually this would have stopped working. And so if it was 50, 60% away from the top, then, there's a good chance that it's not going to go this low. I mean, it could go 20%, and that would be, 61K? And again, this is just guessing, guys. No one knows for sure. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in crypto. I saw one guy leave a comment saying I've been in since 2015, and it wasn't really a clear comment, but I was like, what's he supposed to mean? Like, it doesn't matter if you've got 20 years or 10 years in crypto. No one knows what's going to happen to the price. And so I'm just showing you this, guys, to show you a different perspective. We're in this band here, and yeah, I really still don't think it's too bad. When you really, really zoom out, look at Bitcoin from a high level, it's still pretty decent chart. Yeah, we have fallen, and we're on this level here that I've been calling for a few months. And this is a really good spot for a bounce. And a bounce probably isn't going to go up like that. We might even break through and then eventually break out. So we probably will drop a bit more on Monday. The markets are probably going to get spooked. And this is when the US markets open up. And my best guess is, the markets will probably tank a little bit more. And then the government will step in and, start doing what they always do. And they'll come to save the day. And so that is my best guess right now. And so really, if you're still in the market, the best bet is to just hold. I mean, I do have my system over here, and, this just works, guys. Look at it there. There was a buy signal and then a sell signal a couple of days later, but you would have sold around about 90K, 92K. And then, even if you sold here and bought now, that's still a pretty good trade in my opinion. So, to zoom out, this is my main model, and it tells you when to buy Bitcoin low and sell when it's high. And so if you follow something like this, you will be okay. But even if you just buy and hold, you'll be fine as well. But if you try and time the market without any kind of system, then yeah, you will lose. You're going to buy high and you're going to sell low. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of stuff, I make these video updates pretty much every day. And yeah, like zooming out, and I've got a different channel for this, but yeah, really, what happens in the markets shouldn't really worry you too much, because you really should have your money machine where you've got some kind of business making you good money, good cash flow. That's paying for your lifestyle. And so whether your investments go up and down in the short term, it shouldn't really make much difference to your life anyway, because that money is just, it's there for the long term. And if you play the long-term game, you will win. If you look at the stats, if you do the maths, if you just invest in the S&P 500, hold for 7 years, you're 100% guaranteed to be in profit. And it's not 7 years with Bitcoin. I've got to do the maths and work it out properly. But yeah, my best guess would be it's probably 3-4 years. And so, yeah, really what's happening in the markets, it shouldn't really concern you too much as long as you're holding the right coins. If you're investing in altcoins and playing that game, that's a very, very risky game. And so, yeah, I don't recommend that. Right, I'm going to leave it there, and I will see you in tomorrow's update. Thank you.